today I'm going to show you how I use Paralives base game No CC to make my own garden fountain. Through trial and error, I learned a lot about what types of items the game is capable of making. I started with placing a round item on the ground and sizing it up to create a placeholder for the size of fountain I wanted. Next, I played with the rounded wall tools for the first time ever. What you don't see here is about 15 minutes of me making terrible looking walls. It was an ordeal. I'm not certain I ended up with a perfect circle in the end, but close enough. This tool wasn't the easiest for me, but we got there. This was a half wall at 2 height. For the facade of the fountain, I went with a brickwork to match the house and walls surrounding my garden, but I also considered tiling. I think tiling on the inside of the fountain would look particularly good, but I didn't think that matched the overall vibe of my particular build. Now, most importantly, the water. Stick with me, this goes through several iterations as we get a bit creative. First, there's the water flooring in the game that doesn't work at all. Then I tried a round rug and this color swatch. Then we move on to the custom upload frames, which I've seen people use in creative ways, so we try that. The first one obviously doesn't work because it's square. We move on to oval versions, but the issue with these is that they all have borders in the frames. This is such a pretty ornate frame that I always forget exists, but it is not right for our purposes on a fountain. And I try switching the color, but that doesn't work either. I really wish there was a frameless version. I go with this other one that sticks on the wall instead of the tabletop. Played with this frame and adjusted the colors. I realized that the border size that isn't customizable wasn't going to be ideal for our needs, but we'll try to make it work. First, I tried adjusting the frame material to be a stone swatch to match the brick fountain. Then I used the custom adjust tool to move the frame into place at the bottom of the fountain. However, the bricks just didn't have the intended look. As I moved things into place, I realized I had to let a bad idea go. Next, I tried to mimic the water ripple with the blue stone texture. I played around with things and I couldn't get a perfect match, but it's kind of passing. I think I'm happy enough with that. All right, let's go ahead and get rid of that rug and that poster under there. Put that back in place. And then let's go ahead and do another fountain. So to do this, I placed the frame on the nearest wall, which happened to be the fence, I guess. And I actually left the rug on this one, which my reasoning here was that I wasn't sure if I'd be able to create the perfect oval with the advanced transform tool. So in that case, if any white was peeking out, I wanted to hide it with the blue rug. But in a minute, you'll see as I kind of shape and sculpt the oval using that tool. I start with the frame centered and use those various bits and bobs and arrows. I can really create the perfectly shaped oval for the foundation that I've already laid. I'm really impressed with how perfectly I was able to get that in the end. So while, it's not the perfect effect, it's the perfect shape at least. And, I'm pretty happy with that in the end. So what do you guys think? Are these fountains passing? Does anyone have better ideas for how to make rounded water effects? Let me know in the comments and follow along for more Paralives content. Thanks for watching.